walk around a city in the north of England and chat with a few Christians. And yeah, it's nice to spend time just out and about and just meeting people, what we'd like to call strangers. But I don't know if you agree, if you're a Christian, someone that believes in Jesus and just chats to you about that, it becomes more than a stranger. It becomes someone that you might have a lot in common with, on how you think, on how you feel, and most importantly, how you behave. So that got me thinking about this book and what it says about that. And a big thing that in the Bible is parables, and all a parable is a story, because we're not complex enough to take in the full meaning of anything, really, because we know too much and we've got too much knowledge. We can confuse what's written in this book with what's happened in our life experiences. So the same story can mean many things to many people. So if we talk about one particular parable, it's the parable of the sower. And I find it an intriguing story, an intriguing parable. And it talks about the seeds being sown. And basically the seed is faith, you know, trust without sight, believing in Jesus Christ, what he's done for you and what he will do for you if you stay faithful. So seeds are sown constantly, you know, even when you're not actually aware of it. Look at this building. Even when you're not aware of it, there's seeds been sown, you know. There's people who are an absolutely fantastic example of why we need Jesus Christ. People that just don't walk with him, and then there's people that do walk with him. And they're the examples, they're the seeds which are sown, you know. And it talks about them falling on different ground. And that different ground is different people with different situations. So some people, they're stony ground, you know. That's how it's put in the Bible. So someone can give them faith, or a hope of faith, and that stony ground means that seed's just going to sit there and wither and not take root. And that stony ground can be full of greed, it can be addiction, you know, drunkenness and drugs and all the things which plague many people, and that's the stony ground, you know. So love and kindness and peace can't take root amid continuing addiction. Not to say that the power of Jesus and the love and peace can't break them cycles and turn that stony ground into fertile ground. So next one is your shallow ground. And that's the majority of people, you know. So they're not in the throes of addiction and a mess. They're just in life, you know, and life's complicated. We're busy with work, we're busy with family, we're busy with all kinds of stuff. And things like reading the Bible seems to some, to many, like a lot of effort and a lot of time, you know. I mean, have we got the time and the inclination to make changes to how we're living, how we think, feel and behave, and not many people have. But a good word, a good seed can actually affect someone. You know, it will give them food for thought, that they will think about what they're doing or what they're not doing, and for a short time they can see the sense in it, they can see the reality of it, but because it's shallow ground, as soon as life kicks in again, potentially what happens is the stormy weather, the tribulations of life, and what may happen then is the tribulations and the sorry, I was just taking in some of these buildings, some of the area that I'm in. So yeah, the things which kick in and take away from people's belief kind of take over, and then the short routes that took place and the changes, the good intentions that we had to be different and to live a better life kind of wither and just die, you know. The heat of life can just burn it out. But the aim that we're after, and which most Christians hope that they were, and when they're spreading seed, that they find is fertile ground. That's generally someone. Hold on. There's a bit of noise here. People doing the construction. So I'll just get past here. So we can actually hear what I'm saying. So yeah, fertile ground. So fertile ground is someone who is ready to take in the message, the good news of the gospel. Someone whose life needs the good news and the gospel and change. And it's generally people who have gone through or are going through hard times. Because if we look at the people that Jesus walked with and the lives that he touched, they were generally spiritually sick, weren't they? I mean, Paul had been a murderer and a persecutor of Christians, you know. He wasn't living a particularly nice lifestyle. Right, then I'll say a particularly godly lifestyle. He was living somewhat against God. Well, very much so. However, a lot of people that go through trials and tribulations and find themselves locked up in addictions and prison cells, they're ready for change, and that's fertile ground. So if you're going through problems, you know, internal problems, what no one else can see, you're just suffering from depression and anxiety and eating disorders and greed and hate for other people, then you're generally ready for a change. I mean, we keep going, don't we? We keep fighting it, you know? We keep having a go and thinking that in our own strength we can work this out. But the truth is, we can't. You know, there's not many people who work it out. Well, in fact, nobody works it out. They get a tolerable life, something that they can get through Monday to Friday, and then as long as they can go out and party and drink and socialise and forget about the reality of their life. They're quite happy to do it all again next week. And that's fertile ground. That's someone who's ready for a change. So I'm going to read something now. I'll just get my Bible out and get Jesus, his explanation on this. So he said, whoa. So he said, bear with me, my Bible just fell to pieces. He who receives seed on stony places. And this is Jesus' explanation, yeah? So if I want someone's explanation, it's his. So, but he who receives seed on stony places, this is people who hear the word and immediately receives it with joy. Yet he has no root in himself, but endures only for a while. For when tribulation or persecution arise because of the word, immediately he stumbles. Yeah, so that's like, we've got all intent and purposes to be a Christian. Like, this is amazing. I'm not going back to my own ways. But when the word of others and the devil that works for others and situations and greed and our personal life desires take over, you know, the faith stumbles, falls down and dies. And then we've got, now he who receives seed amongst the thorns is he who hears the word, and the cares of this world and the deceitfulness of riches choke his word, and he becomes unfruitful. Yes, you can know what's the right thing to do and the right things not to do, but when you're getting worldly benefits and money and promotion through a little bit of deception or cheating someone to make money, it's very easy to fall away from the path, isn't it? So then we'll move on to those, in the words of Jesus, on good ground. But he who receives seed on the good ground is he who hears the word and understands it, who indeed bears fruit and produces some 100-fold, some 60 and some 30. So what's he mean by that? What I believe he means is the people who were ready to become Christians, who had faith and belief, and they may make some massive sacrifices in their life and give up stuff which previously was beneficial for them. So they may lose, but in the end they gain, you know. They gain true faith, they gain the benefits of Christianity, true Christianity. And he says that you'll benefit 100-fold, 60-fold or 30-fold. So that's not sort of like a financial transaction, is it? It's not saying that if I do give up this, I'll gain that. What it's saying is you will benefit. And any true Christian that has walked away from false teachings of the church and religion and atheism and greed, and has put up a little bit of self-sacrifice, the pain that you need to initially, the benefits are absolutely huge. I'm sorry if I seem a bit distracted, but I've never been here before, and I'm seeing some really, really interesting things. So I think this must be like the financial district of Leeds. I've got the Leeds Building Society and other types of banks. So it's quite interesting, quite apt that I've stumbled into like the banking area when we want to talk about greed. Yeah, so there's some amazing buildings if you like modern architecture, but I don't believe that many of these places will be here in 100 years. I think they'll have all fallen down. I think things will have changed in the fickle world of finance. And unlike the many of the very old church buildings which kept true to the church, which seem to be around for a long time, I don't feel like these will be here for a very long time. They just have their purpose for now. But now is indeed quite a short time. So anyway, thank you for listening to me. I hope you've enjoyed this little bit of a walk around in Leeds. I've not been here before, but yeah, here's a gym. So people are going in there to change their bodies, you know, which is a good thing.